You're listening to the Decentralized Talk Podcast, your crypto connection.
Decentralized Talk. Decentralized Talk.
All right, guys. Welcome to another outstanding episode of the Decentralized Talk Podcast, the best crypto podcast for insights while you drive to work or mow the grass or whatever it is that you do while you're listening to podcasts. This is your place to break down crypto happenings and general bullshit about crypto current events and things influencing the crypto culture. And we're going to do hard-hitting interviews. Man, I can't wait till you guys hear next week's interview. I'm going to keep it under wraps for right now. But it's going to be big and it's pretty exciting.
I don't even know about this. This is new.
We're growing our audience every week, guys. And we want you to subscribe on your favorite platform, whatever it is. As always, you can check us out on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Music, Spotify, and passively on YouTube. We'll call it what it is. We don't really pay a lot of attention to YouTube, but we're on there in case that's how you do your thing. We have a special treat for you guys today. It is a little somebody I like to call Deus Ex Machina, a.k.a. Dan. Dan, are you out there?
Guys. Yes, I am. How's it going?
Hey, what's up? Hey, we want to welcome you to the show. We appreciate you coming on here, making time for us coming out from the West Coast. So we did some research this week on whales, right? Because we've seen such big swings, and we had a kind of a
whales, sperm whales,
mostly sperm
Beluga.
whales.
My favorite's beluga.
Blue whale.
Personally. Or whale sharks are pretty interesting.
Whale shark is not a whale.
Yeah, I know, but it has the name whale.
It's a dolphin.
Well,
Whale shark
did
is a
you-
dolphin. It's a mammal.
Wait, so whale
Did you
shark
just
isn't a whale? Or
assume its gender or whatever?
busted with my gender roles.
A whale shark, first of all, a whale shark identifies as a mammal.
Wonder which bathrooms they use.
It doesn't fucking matter, bro.
dude. Tell me,
Whatever bathroom they want to use, or whatever bathroom your 9-year-old daughter's using.
Oh.
What?
not trying to get us too off topic, but have y'all seen the new Sunny with the bathrooms?
Yeah.
How to see what?
Animal shit house.
Animal shit house.
No.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good episode.
I'm going to have to watch that.
To offend no one.
So we start talking about market manipulation and whales in the market, aka big movers. And I still we're gonna talk about this later, but I don't know what that means, a whale. I know what it means, but I don't really know what, I'd like somebody to explain and define for me what they're talking about when they say a whale. So specifically, and we had the conversation amongst ourselves, and I saw on Dirty Dan, Deus Ex Machina,
Yes.
you had a really interesting post, and we decided we wanted to have you on the show, and so that you could talk a little bit about it. I think so. For the most part, I don't want to speak for you guys, but I think so. For Dan and Heston and Prater, you guys are pretty sure, or I guess maybe I think very confident, right, that the market is being manipulated to some extent. I don't know. We're going to find out between each one of you to what degree you believe that is true or how deeply involved it is. And I'm going to try to, I guess, make the point that I don't think that there's any kind of market manipulation. I think this is real, just natural things that are happening in the market. We'll see where this goes.
I think that's relative because, you could make a case that all financial markets are manipulated at a certain level.
Yeah, that was my case.
Yeah, okay, I agree. But so we're talking about whales and market manipulation specifically. So I guess let me just posit the question to you guys, and we'll do kind of a roundtable. Is there a such? So do you believe? So I guess you could say a yay or nay on this. I don't like to pigeonhole people into yes or no questions, but Would you agree with the statement that I feel like a lawyer now?
You better word this just right.
Would you agree?
I concur.
Do you concur? Well, we have Deus Ex Machina, which is Latin. By the way, hey, let's talk about that real quick before we get started. I know I'm like teasing people. Do you guys know what Deus Ex Machina means in Latin? Surely Dan does.
Machine.
I have no idea.
What?
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, God, you had me. I was like, what the fuck?
No, when I had heard it, I was young. It meant an unstoppable machine.
An unstoppable machine, literally translated a god from a machine. But do you know what the Deus Ex Machina was, or like why it was popularized, or how that term came to be?
I got it from a video game.
Yeah, Deus
That
Ex.
was where I got it. I was a video game I played back in the day on my Mac, shooter game. And I had heard that it was, someone had explained to me, God of a machine or unstoppable machine. And I was like, okay, I don't stop. All I do is work and grind. And so that's what I took on.
I like it.
Yeah, I love that. That's cool. That reminds me of, I was going to say me, but that's not true. I work really hard right until the point where it gets difficult, and then I'm fucked up. So the Deus Ex Machina is a crane that held God over the stage in ancient Greek and Roman dramas. So it was like a thing that was like behind like all these Greek and Roman theater. It was basically it was God held up by a crane in the background. It was the Deus Ex Machina.
That is fascinating, and I'm going to tell everybody I figured that one out. Thank you.
That's awesome. The show won't come out for another week, so you have at least a week to get that by.
No, that's really cool. I had no idea. I never looked at it beyond the game and what I had heard, and thanks for that.
Yeah, cool. Well, we think it's a cool name, and like I said, we appreciate you coming onto the show and being benevolent with your deusness. All right. So back from that sidetrack, market manipulation. So would you guys agree with the statement that there is a handful of whales being defined as very large cryptocurrency holders that are purposely buying and selling and dropping the market in and out, which is causing these kind of these violent, volatile shifts? I'll start with Hesto. Would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah. I think it happens in every single financial market, and it's happened in every single financial market since the beginning of financial markets. But it's only really noticeable in low liquidity markets like the crypto market. So it's happening in the stock market as well, but you only see those changes within seconds. They're already negated, just because of the large total market cap of traditional stock markets. So you just notice it a lot more in the crypto market. But yeah, 100%. Big movers are always manipulating the market to their advantage. It's not illegal or anything like that. That's just how financial markets work. So yeah, I definitely think that it's going on.
Dustin?
Sure. Yeah, well, I don't necessarily, whales are definitely, I guess, manipulating the market to their advantage. There are levels that are illegal that, are definitely being investigated. That's what the SEC is for. In all levels of market, people are getting arrested all the time. Insider trading could be considered market manipulation. People are getting arrested for that all the time. And then you take into account bots and all these other, it comes down to what level do you want to consider market manipulation? And I don't like just looking at it on the side of whales, because there's so many different other levels of manipulation, especially in the crypto market. Pump and dumps are real big too. So we're
gonna get into kind of all the different ones, but specifically, I just wanted to find out, because that's the big conspiracy theory thing, right? Oh, there's whales everywhere, and they're They're doing it. They're
think
doing
that
it, doing their whale thing.
The whales are just one little piece of that puzzle, you know. And it's only illegal if
get
there's
caught.
some kind of involvement. Well, if there's some kind of involvement into a publicly traded company, like you know, if it's insider trading, then it's illegal. But with no regulation and stuff, people are going to take advantage as much as they can. If you got lots of money to move things around and make the price go up or make the price go down, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, if I had billions of dollars throw around, I'd tell you right now, I'd be doing it.
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with the whale sentiment here, especially with things like the wash trading, the sell walls. You've got dark pools where these people with tons of funds are, you know, accumulating a coin off the exchanges, and then all of a sudden using it to prop up a price, wash trading to create volume, pump and dump groups. And I mean, for it to drop as drastically as it does so quickly, like the price of Bitcoin, for example, just to bottom out like that means the support just gives out and someone pulls that away. It's definitely, I think it's definitely occurring, especially because we're so new. And the fact that, you know, we have this perception that, I mean, it was even for me when I started in cryptocurrency, like, oh, it's United States. Yay. That's my perception. Everybody in the US. But in reality, this is worldwide stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so we don't know what other members of different countries are doing. We don't know what kind of whales they have. We can only track ours legally, technically.
Yeah.
Of people who would have funds or skin in the game with this sort of thing. And you never know.
And I mean, if you look at the volume out of China and stuff like that, I mean, a lot of those Asian countries, they're making some moves too, you know, so they're definitely affecting the market. We just don't know to what degree.
I think we've got a lot of things to cover. So I think you guys all made a really good point. So is it whales? Some of you believe it is more than others, but I think mostly as a consensus, we can agree that things are amiss to some extent, and they're probably more amiss, or maybe it just shows up greater in crypto than it does in other places. So I'm going to read off these real quick. This is from NASDAQ.com. We're going to talk about some of these. We're going to kind of go through them. Fake news rapidly. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. This says the term fake news has become popular recently with the Trump administration, with the Drain the Swamp, has exposed many ways the media manipulates news. Large media-savvy stock market players have long attempted to spread fake news about a stock. So this was pretty obvious. You get together with a bunch of people and you spread fake news. I think that's definitely happening. Everybody agree that's happening?
Yeah, in the crypto market.
Yeah, well, in all.
I mean, in all markets, yeah, but yeah, in the crypto
that's
market.
happening in the craft food market.
Well, I think John McAfee, you know, does that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think too with the news, you've got so many people that don't really know what cryptocurrency is, but they want to get rich quick.
Mm-hmm.
And they're throwing money at it, and they're listening to what other people say. They're listening to what tweeters say. You know, if you think about it, you got some of these guys with 100,000 followers saying, oh, this is a shit coin. People won't research it beyond what people are just talking about. I mean, no one really does their own research, and that's kind of scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or at least there's enough people for sure that don't do their own research that could influence something dramatically, particularly with somebody who has that many followers. That's very true.
People are getting burned daily, you know, by just listening to what other people say. Yeah.
Which makes me wonder how those people end up with 100,000 followers. But you think eventually people are like,
another podcast.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Okay. So one that we can probably spend a little bit more time on is pump and dump, right? So everybody knows crypto is like the most in your face. We don't give a shit. We're pumping and dumping. This is a group. Come join us. It's free. Like they make like it's like a spa day of it. Come join the email list or whatever, you know, and like, oh, we're all going to pump this and things.
Signals group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, Signals group, all those. I'm on Telegram, and I can't tell you how many Signals group I just get thrown into. like at least 5 a week, just for being in some other groups. And it's just like, oh, we're going to pump this coin. It's going to hit it exactly this time. And I get the hell out of there, because if something were to ever happen, I want nothing to do with that, number one. But number two, it's rampant, and people are just getting taken advantage of.
Yeah, but I'm trying to. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna.
Have y'all ever tried to follow one of those? Like, actually look at the group and say, okay, they're pumping it at this time. This is when it's going to pump, and then watch the coin at that time to see if it's pumped?
I haven't.
I've started that process about 15 times and never followed through with it.
I never did, only because I remember when who's that? Crypto Medicated wrote that, like, he wrote a ton of articles just exposing all these big Twitter influencers. I don't know how true it was or how it wasn't, but a lot of that stuff was in Telegram. And when I was reading that, I was pretty much still a nobody on Twitter. But I saw how much negative attention it brought. And especially with the SEC giving rewards to people who are involved with these type of schemes. Personally, every time I get added to a group, I leave. I want nothing to do with it. And maybe it's just part of my own, my own principles. But if I'm going to make money, I'm going to do it fairly.
Agreed.
Yeah. What were you getting at, P?
Well, I was just going to say I've never actually attempted to participate in one, but I've watched some of the coins that they have actually said that they were going to pump. And, I mean, it happens all the time. And I've probably only looked at 2 or 3 of them, but it never actually did what they said it was going to do. At the time they said it was going to do it at.
This is exactly my point. I don't think pump and dump is nearly as big of an actual threat as it is that they make it into a big thing. It's like terrorism. Like, oh shit, everybody's a terrorist. Everybody look at it as a terrorist. Well, it's not really happening. There's nobody's blowing up things in America and that kind of stuff. So, and just real quick. So the evidence that I have for this is like you said, pump and dumps. Can you imagine? Just put yourself in the position of, like, you getting into one of these pump and dumps, right? And you get this email from this guy that you just met on the internet, right? And you're like, oh, okay, like me and like some other people that I don't know are gonna get in this thing, and it's gonna be like. It's gonna be like there's gonna be 200 people. The African Prince is in here. He's totally solid, right? After I fund him the money, then he's gonna pay me back in triplicate, so it's all good. And so everybody's in on this pump. So to me, it's just ridiculous, because there's the temptation of, like, well, I know exactly what I would do. I would try to get in like a little bit before, and I would try to get out a little bit before, right? Well, everybody would do that. Well, nobody is going to be so, like, loyal to this group of retards that they've never met before that they're going to like run. Okay, we're pumping this at $1.57, and we're going to run it up to $1.87, and then we're all getting out on 3. Fuck that, dude. I'm in at $1.52, and I'm out at $1.75 every time. And I think everybody. Here's. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
I gotta cut you off there.
Yeah.
You think that people like yourself or myself are being invited to the real pump and dump groups?
Oh yeah, I get them all the time.
Exactly.
I get them all the time.
No.
Yeah, not
what we get. What we get is
the dump group.
Bots. The bots, the ones that are just trying to offload some bags that they bought. Real pump and dump groups are pretty much invite only of certain people with a number of that have enough capital to be able to affect something like this and push the price up. Because you have to consider, it's not like you get 1,000 people buying, $100 a coin. Yeah, that's a dent on an exchange, but we're talking a lot of money needs to go into it. And the only time that type of thing occurs where you have, like, the main pump and dump groups, which are secret, closed off, certain individuals. Then you have under that extra, like, I'm using the wrong word here, but there's secondary pump and dump groups where people get kind of invited in and suckered in, and they never get the right time for the signal. They just end up buying the whale's back.
Yeah.
You know, it's a pyramid type scheme. I guarantee you and I like added to like a Telegram group, like I was talking about. Like I stay away from them, but I don't think that they're just inviting anybody into that.
So okay, yeah, okay.
Not the big movers, the ones that are actually going to make a change. We're talking hundreds and thousands.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. It could make sense, but I don't know where the evidence is for that. And to me, that goes into conspiracy theory realm. It's one of those kind of things where it's like, okay, well, there's the Bilderberg group. The Bilderberg group, they run the world. Well, they have a secret place in Calcutta on an island where they, you know, fuck a bunch of animals and stuff, and they blood sacrifices and stuff, and then they go back home and run the world.
These are all facts. I mean, what you're stating here, these are all facts. Everybody knows this stuff.
Well, yeah, obviously the animal fucking mainly, but
it's not a group unless you're fucking animals.
Yeah,
it doesn't count as a group. No, I don't. I don't. I mean, I don't. I'm not saying that it's not possible, because it certainly is possible. But my whole point of this podcast, kind of, again, presenting the contrarian perspective against the three of y'all, ostensibly, is where's the evidence for these big things? And so I don't know where the evidence for the pump and nuts were, but that is clever, and I haven't thought about that. But that is, I mean, it's a possibility that there is a group of elite people that get together and say they're going to move a coin. Now, I could see that much more with like a coin that does $10,000 daily volume. Dude, you and a couple college buddies could get together and certainly manipulate that for sure.
Yeah, I think it's more widely known. There was that video I saw a while back with Jim Cramer from Mad Money talking about stock market manipulation. It was like a 5-minute clip about how he was involved in those sort of things.
Yeah, Kramer's a stonemason.
Definitely. And he's talking about these things. And I think that the general populace, you and me, of the crypto markets, generally ride the coattails of these sorts of groups and everything that happens, because we don't have the capital to make the movement.
Well, it definitely feels that way. There's no doubt about that. At all times when I make a trade, I feel like I feel like one of those animals at the Bilderberg meeting. So let's move on. So spoofing the tape. Have you guys ever heard of this, spoofing the tape? This is the first time I heard about it today doing research for the show. But have you guys heard of that? Spoofing?
New for me.
Spoofing?
New for me.
Okay, so spoofing. This is from Nasdaq.com. Spoofing the tape, or also known as layering the tape, is when a sophisticated short-term investor places orders in the market with no intention of having the orders filled. The other investors see the large orders waiting to be executed, believing that the market whale is, even they use whale in NASDAQ, is trying to buy and sell at a certain price. Therefore, the investor places the order at the same level to buy or sell. Seconds before the market trades, the investor basically Charlie Browns the ball out from, or what's her name? What's the girl who pulls the ball?
Oh,
Lucy,
yeah.
I think.
Lucy, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Lucy pulls the ball. So, okay, so we'll talk about this briefly then. So basically the idea is that the big whales put in a huge buy or sell order. They wait for you to get into it at the same price because you see it posted, and then they pull the rug out from under you, and then you get turned into one of those animals from Bilderberg.
Yeah, so the retail investors, they're trying to anticipate based on big moves, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's actually screwing the probably more advanced trader.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, go ahead. Sorry, buddy.
So I was just going to say that I've heard of that, but I never knew it had a nickname, the spoofing the tape.
Yeah, Prater, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't even know if that's manipulation. I think that's just
They're trying to drive the price down. I mean, basically, so they can up their take later on. I mean,
well, so we were talking about this before the show. So so explain to me, spoofing the tape. That sounds actually sounds like a pretty good idea if you were trying to screw somebody, but it doesn't sound like a very good idea if you're trying to make any money.
Yeah, I can see that. But I mean, I guess it just seems like a risky play. You're counting on trying to screw the person below you and create FUD in the market to drive the price down so you can up your stake at a lower price is basically what it sounds like the plan is when you're spoofing. And that just seems, I mean, if you have the funds to spoof, why not pump and dump? Right?
Yeah, I mean, your profits would probably be
riskier of a manipulation tactic.
Your profits, your probability of profits would be higher if you just did a pump and dump. Yeah, if you had that much capital to throw around.
Come on, whales, figure it out.
Figure it out.
I think they're doing all right. Shit, they're doing better than me. I'm just getting wrecked. But I'm not really like a day trader or anything like that. You know, I'm more a long-term investor. I think most of us are. Most retail investors. You know, we're not. Most of us aren't checking the markets every 5 seconds. And
yeah, I know hodling is not like right now. This is for those of you listening after the fact. This is like basically mid-October 2018, and I'm going on record as a hodler. And that's actually, I think that takes a lot of guts. It's like coming out of the closet. You've been totally hammered for the last year, and then now to claim to still be a hodler at this point is, I don't know. It's tough. I don't know that. Do you guys consider yourself hodlers? By using that terminology?
I think hodl for Bitcoin is always, I mean, that's always the way to go, really.
For Bitcoin, yeah. But
dollar
you're
cost average and hold that shit.
You should make a distinguishment between Bitcoin and alts. So yes, I hodl both, though. So.
And altcoins, it kind of just depends when you got in. I mean, for the altcoins, if you got in like January time and you're still holding on, that just basically means you just took a crazy loss and decided not to just lose all your money and sell it and just hold on and hope it goes back to all-time highs.
Yeah. Dan, are you a take your profits kind of guy?
I'll take profits when they present themselves for sure. I generally dollar cost average into most coins. I'm not really a big trader. I'm not in there, charting or doing crazy stuff. I've played with it a little bit, but I know I've always said, and I've said it openly on Twitter, like there are people who are way better at it than I am and have more time to do that. Meanwhile, my niche, or however you say that word, is coming from a technical background. I can see, some of the promises of some of these altcoins or just Bitcoin in general and what it can do. And I'm looking like you guys 5 years down the road. Where is this going to be? I mean, we're so early, and I think the problem with crypto and the fast-moving markets is if you've ever gone back and looked at the stock market, it's like watching paint dry. It's so slow. Yeah. They're saying, oh, my God, it dropped 800 points to Dow. I was like, wow, yeah, that happens daily in Bitcoin. And
hourly.
And that, hourly. And that kind of activity constant, I think, shortens attention span and makes people forget that, hey, we're just getting mainnets out here. We're just getting some technology out. We're getting off of test nets. We're starting to build dApps. We've just finished funding these companies. I mean, we still got a long way to go.
Oh yeah, there's really only a few successful cryptos out there with actual working products. A lot of them are still theories and stuff. So yeah, I agree. A lot of people forget about that because we're still just infant stages of this stuff. But what you can see is like so many projects being built and a lot of funding going into these projects. That's just proof that it's not going anywhere. It's not going to just everything, all these projects are just going to go, oh, you know what? We just don't have the funding anymore. We're closing our doors. That's not going to happen. It's just, we're just years out, and everybody needs to be patient instead of focusing on the day-to-day price. Just remember that this is a brand new technology that we're building, applications on.
Yeah. Well said.
Right.
Well said. All right. So let's talk about wash trading, because that really was beautiful. I think both of you actually.
Wait, I want to jump in on that. I want to talk about that spoofing the tape.
Yeah.
I had to look it up, and I'll be honest, I had to look it up, and they said that the reason they do that is to attract the attention of investors. Painting the tape increases volume and attracts investors, who then may push a price higher, and the ones painting the tape will sell their holdings when they acquire it at a much lower price to others unaware of the market manipulation.
Yeah, they're basically trying to entice retail investors to come in so they can unload.
God, man,
all
so
over their
again,
faces.
it's like that's like the same. That's the same question I have though. Is like, who has got this much power in the space? I don't know. Or also, like, if you have this much Bitcoin, really, like if you have this much Bitcoin that you can do these crazy things, how are you not trying to build Bitcoin? Because just like you said, Dan, it's obvious, I think, to everybody who spent 30 minutes studying crypto, this is the infancy. This is the beginning. So
Not everybody sees it that way, though. Some people are just.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
if you have that much Bitcoin, odds are you didn't acquire it by paying $6,000 a coin. You got it early, right? You got it when you
Or
like
OTC.
you mean like you just like bought it from a buddy or something like that?
So yeah, over the counter, or what was that? The dark pool trading, where they do it off the record. Off the exchanges, because you can exchange that in an OTC platform.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of that money goes into it, and then they're able to manipulate it. And I understand where you're coming from, where you're saying, oh, this is a technology, but that appeals to us. You look at somebody who studies charts and numbers and figures and percentages all day long. They don't give a crap what blockchain is. They just know that this is so new that it can be manipulated.
They don't.
And it can be played with.
Making money.
Exactly. In a high volatile market, just so much
Fast
money to
as
be
possible.
made. Because, when you take the stock market with its huge market cap, you see, like 1%, everybody's losing their mind, or 3%, oh my God. But, I mean, you're taking 20% losses or 20% gains a day.
Right.
In crypto. I mean, there's just so much money to be made if you got the funds to throw it around.
Yeah. Okay. So and another way that you got big players buying in, so is wash trading, right? So it's a tricky form of manipulation where you got a big players and they're buying and selling the same security, or in this case, the same crypto, continually and instantaneously. So they're basically buying it and selling it, buying and selling it, buying and selling it. So it artificially pumps up the volume. And then people are saying, oh my God, look at that volume. I got to get in.
Yeah, but it's similar to spoofing, but you're trying to draw people in to drive the price up.
Right, but on a bigger scale, you look at. I wrote an article for the Whale Reports a while back on Tether, and if you ever look at on Twitter, Bitfinex, he is like obsessively trying to bring down Tether and that whole connection. And, he speaks avidly about how companies will just launder money or wash trade through Tether and through the market for their profits. And he's actually brought up a lot of interesting points about that. We all know that Tether has its big question marks and how it's tied in. And it's actually really good that we're having other stable coins come out. But a lot of that goes into the wash trading as well.
So you read an article about Tether. So let me ask you this. This is just a question I had randomly. When I was doing research today, I looked at CoinMarketCap and I pulled up Tether, and obviously the price stays the same comparative to the US dollar, fluctuates a little bit, but What I thought was really interesting is that in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, the market cap has like quadrupled. So how does the market cap bounce like that, but the price stays the same, and the price to BTC actually drops in the same, basically almost in the same ratio as the increase in market cap. I just don't understand how that works, and it's just maybe because I'm not very technical or whatever or smart, but I don't understand that. This is a side.
I'm not even listening to what you're asking.
Pull up Tether on coinmarketcap.com and look at the chart.
Making more Tether. It's like
they're printing it.
Yeah.
There's a Tether printer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to print every time there's been more money to kind of back or going into Bitcoin to kind of back it. But
they're also supposed to burn when it goes down, right?
Exactly, and they've never burned it, and that's why Tether is, so the way they've done it is, step 1, the user deposits fiat into their account. Step 2, they generate and credit the user's Tether account by printing the Tether, and then user transacts with the Tethers, do whatever they need to do, and then they try to get fiat currency out, and Tether is supposed to burn those coins. They've never burned those coins, and that's why their audits are so their audits are BS, because they're done internally. I wrote a huge, crazy report on it. It's pretty. I actually stopped researching after it because I know there's a lot of big players involved with this. And I'm just like, you know what? This is for somebody else to figure out, like Bitfinex, because he's been tearing them up pretty good. But anyway, Tether is an issue for sure. And people use Tether to do the wash trading, as I've been explained.
But yeah, you brought up a good point. It's good that there's a lot of other options now with stable coins, because for day traders, there needs to be some type of stable coin that's not doesn't have as much shady business and is actually audited. Something better than Tether.
Okay, let's talk about bear rating. This is Heston's favorite style of rating.
Bear rating or rating?
Also my favorite.
I didn't understand
as well.
Hey, you, bear fucker. No, bear rating. RAIDING. Bear rating. Bear rating is when a large player forces. So you don't know what's going to happen after you say that sentence. Bear rating is when a large, burly, bearded man forces share prices lower by placing large sell orders. The price plunges as stops are hit, adding to the selling. Y'all feel like this is happening in the market? Did that not make any sense?
I think that it does. They're forcing it down to cover the short position, as I understand it. I don't mess with margin trading at all. Like I said, I'm investors like you guys, but a lot of the kind of more I think, and what I've read and heard other people talk about, is a lot of the more obvious price drops by their guesstimation is with stuff like bear rating, where they push it down to cover their margins.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going on. But again, this is just, like all these things we've listed are basically just a bunch of different ways that people are manipulating the market. So yeah, I think all these things are happening. One maybe more than the other.
You guys think it has something to do with the huge loss that we took recently? Again, guys, this is October 2018.
Definitely.
So you think whales are doing that?
Yeah, I don't think a price drops in a what's the market cap of Bitcoin?
Yeah, but that's like
108.
Are you talking about the recent
$1 billion? There's no way it drops that big of a percentage point within an hour from retail investors just all deciding at once. You know what? I think I'm going to sell now.
You got to give me concrete details, because I think right now you're mixing up causation and correlation. It's the price dropped dramatically. I get that. It came out of nowhere. I get that.
But how else could it? How else could it drop that dramatically within in that amount of time? In a 30-minute period, how could $1 billion be shaved off?
Because people have automatic sell orders set in. They have there's millions of people across the world.
They set it to trigger those sale orders.
The stop losses.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it could drop even lower. Yeah.
But now you're talking about what causes the initial drop, like we experienced a few days ago, right? Along the same time, the Dow dropped about 800 points. Is that where you're?
Yeah, about 24 hours, about 48 hours before the Dow, right?
Well, actually, it was after. Well, the Dow started dropping, and we didn't get affected. I actually tweeted about this, and I even tweeted. I said Bitcoin held pretty steady during the stock market tank, because I remember seeing
I was pretty impressed
seeing
by
that
that.
come in. And then all of a sudden, here comes like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and then we dropped. And it had nothing to do with the U.S. markets. And I actually said, oh, wow, Asia didn't like that. And I said, I stand by my original tweet. And I have the numbers in front of me. I said, when the Dow dropped 3%, BTC didn't flinch. However, when the Shanghai Composite went down 5.22%, Japan's Nikkei 225 dropped 3.89%, and Hong Kong's stock exchange went down 3.6%. And Asia woke up to that due to the effect of what happened with the Dow. That's when we crashed. That's when we dropped.
Okay, so somebody explain that to me, because I always have seen Bitcoin as a hedge against these type of a hedge against inflation and a hedge against volatility in the traditional fiat markets. So I don't understand why it is that we're seeing this huge drop in Bitcoin accompanied by, or rather a huge drop in the stock markets, global stock markets, accompanied by these huge drops in Bitcoin. It doesn't process for me. What do you guys?
My thoughts is this. Sorry to cut in, because I feel passionately about this sort of stuff, but it's definitely, again, people like us aren't investing tens of thousands of dollars over the period of a few days or whatnot. So when those investors are seeing the entire market crash, they're diversifying. They might do what we want our 401k to do: 5% in Bitcoin, 95% into long-term funds, right? So 5% of their giant investing pool, $1 million, $10 million, might be in Bitcoin, because it's so volatile. And so when they see everything coming out, they're not only going to pull out of Asian markets or U.S. stock markets, they're going to definitely pull out of the most volatile market, which is cryptocurrency, which, we have a giant market cap, but that really doesn't translate into, everybody sees, $200 billion market cap. But we all know that that's not how much money is in the market cap, right? So when you and I hodl, and we're in there, our funds are not propping up the price. Mm-hmm. And it's big investors who are diversified that make a call to whoever that they're working with. They don't even sit at the charts, and they just say, you know what, pull all my funds out right now. All the markets are dropping.
Yeah, and exactly. And because they have the capital, it can trigger a lot of things because of it. Yep.
You guys don't think it's possible that there are a lot of people that are moderately invested that are watching the markets and get scared? Or that, in my mind, it's always been like newbies, and it's people with no spine.
Not that fast. I mean, that takes time.
Yeah, newbies aren't going to be checking the charts within that 30 minutes. Not enough of them.
Yeah,
Well,
newbies
they got
have day
stop-loss.
jobs.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they have
Newbies don't have stop losses.
True. Yeah.
Well,
Do you
maybe.
have a stop loss on any coin?
Yeah.
Do you have a single stop loss on anything right now?
I purposely don't have a stop loss
Well, I would hope it's purpose.
because I'm
Weird if it's not
ideologically
purposely.
because I'm ideologically tied to the hodl. Now, is that the smartest thing? I can't say that's the smartest move. No, but that's my whole point. Is that there is a lot of not smart shit going on in the markets, And to attribute everything to like a handful of big players seems too convenient to me. To me, it makes more sense that there is just a billion little guys. Okay, look at something like a company like Walmart. Sam Walton built Walmart in the backgrounds, in the backwoods, and like all these little shitty little towns all across the entire country. Right? And before you know it, Walmart was this massive, massive, massive company that all it did, its entire strategy, if you ever read Sam Walton's book, he tells about it, it's very obvious. He purposely goes to these small towns that only have a general store, and then he just body slammed them with his logistics system and being able to get all these different products out there. And then before you know it, he's bigger than Target. He's bigger than Kmart. Put Kmart out of business. He put all these other companies out of business. And what it was not because he was big to begin with, but what it was is he was a collective effort of all these thousands and thousands of little stores in these little shitty towns across the country, in small towns. I should say shitty towns. This is America. So all these burgeoning.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah, all these burgeoning Trump voter markets. Yes, markets of Trump voters. So you guys don't leave any possibility for that, though, honestly, that it's a collective of a bunch of little people making
possible
more decisions.
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way. But no.
Yeah, and the only way, if I'm going to feed into that, and I could agree with this a little bit in the sense that the majority, okay, let's take the moderate investors as you described, right? Modern investors were holding long term, right? We've all discussed this HODL. We have a catchphrase and a power sign, and we all pat each other's backs when we do it. And so we have this, and those are the investors. We're not day trading. We're not out there doing that. We're investing when we can. Now, the day traders who are moderate day traders, I mean, this is a theory. It just seems like I've always thought that charting is a self-fulfilling prophecy, in a sense, that, you've seen that triangle painting out from, what was it, like February on, and it's the descending wedge and the market slowly. And you see, as soon as we hit the edge of that triangle, it drops, and then it comes back up, and it drops. And we're just feeding in that triangle. Now, if you think about it, and everybody's following that triangle, and you're taking all these newbies who are starting day traders, and they're all following that little descending wedge and that triangle, and everybody's copied that same triangle. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense, but who's left out there? I mean, besides my dollar cost averaging, which isn't a lot of money, enough to move any kind of market, and my long-term investing, all you do have is the day traders. So I could see how they could feed into that. As soon as there's a small drop, they feed into it and make it bigger. But I firmly believe that there are larger forces at work, because this is low-hanging fruit for people with the capital to do it.
Yeah, but I need the evidence for it. That's my only thing. I think for all three of you guys, I love you guys.
I'm sure there's evidence out
Dan,
there.
you're now part of the crypto family, and I love you as well. But I don't know what the evidence is. And we even already talked about today about how you got a guy on crypto Twitter with 100,000 followers, and then he says, "Oh man, I'm about to sell my bag of Zenfin," which obviously he would never do because it's an incredible coin. But and then all of a sudden, every 100,000 people are like, "Oh shit, I got to get out of Zenfin immediately," and maybe they do, and maybe even the ones and this has this trickle down effect, and I just think everything is like eggshells.
You're asking for evidence. The people that are doing this are attempting to do it, preventing the evidence from happening. That's
clandestine.
Dark pool trading. It's a cat and mouse game. That's what the SEC's for. They have to find the evidence. But the people that are trading in the whales, or whoever you want to call it, that's the market movers that have the money, they're not dumb about how they're going to do it. They don't want to get caught. So sure.
Okay, well, more evidence for me.
But you really got to dig into it.
That seems like more evidence for me, because there would be more. The SEC is up crypto's ass right now. So far up crypto's butt, it's crazy. And you would think that if that's the main purpose of the SEC, then we would see all over everything. There would be, oh, this guy got caught. Oh, this group got caught. Oh, this group was penalized for doing this and that. And I don't see any of that. And it seems like also and you guys can admit to this, right? There is such a massive force against crypto out there, right? Just a huge like well of people like us who are very like ideologically and emotionally tied to crypto. But I think there's probably a much stronger group of people like, you know them when you talk about crypto and they're like, it's a Ponzi scheme. I'm like, you don't even know what a Ponzi scheme is. So
I want to go back to your first point real quick. You're talking about the SEC with the United States. Do any of you speak Chinese? Like, do we know what's really going on in China, or if the SEC is covered? Maybe. Okay. Well, I hope you have a leg up.
That's total bullshit. He doesn't know.
If you did, you had me there, and that was good. But what's going on in Asia? What's going on in other countries, in Europe and Russia and other countries? The SEC is an American establishment. Do they have jurisdiction over all of these countries? Are we communicating with possible Asian whales, Chinese whales, Japanese whales? And our perspective is so small. Forget it. Like, if we're talking about the U.S. stock market and the NASDAQ, sure, we've got a better stranglehold on that, even though manipulation still occurs. But now we're talking worldwide. We're talking anybody with an internet connection can buy cryptocurrency, buy into Bitcoin, and trade it. It's not as easily explained as we're trying to make it seem.
All right, so it looks like we're all pretty much in a consensus that whales are fake. And there's no real market manipulation, and it's all just a combined effort of lots of little tiny things happening in a totally beautiful.
It's all up and up. Everything's on the up and up.
Everything's on the up and up. No, I will concede to you guys that there could possibly be some crazy stuff going on. I know there's people probably screaming at their radios right now, or their iPods, or I don't know.
I don't think any of those things are being used. Nobody really uses a radio or an iPod anymore.
Everybody's trading on their Zoom.
Well, what about iHeartRadio? I listen to iHeartRadio.
Yeah, but is that radio?
That's how when I listen to the show, I listen to it on iHeart.
I don't even know if that's considered radio anymore. That's just another streaming service.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's considered radio because it's in their name.
Yes. Well, I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know really what's considered radio anymore. Is a podcast a radio show?
Sure.
Okay. An internet radio show.
It's a digital radio show.
An internet radio show.
This new age, it's so confusing. It's hard to keep up.
It's a beautiful time. Before the show, guys. Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
My wife actually told me, she wrote a post that somebody said that podcasts are like the tramp stamps of 1990.
Definitely.
No.
Definitely.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, woman.
It's true, though. I mean, it's true.
I think the podcast is like the garage band of 1980s and 90s because, like, it's the kind of, it's like you and your buddies get together and, you used to jam out and they're like, oh, we played some shows, man. Where'd you do? Oh, we got down to the local bar one time or whatever. And this is like us, basically, we'll interview John McAfee and quit.
Yeah. So, I mean, are we Nirvana or are we like Blind Melon?
I'd like to be both. I'd be Nirvana or
I guess
Blind
hit wonder is better than
Smash Mouth.
Hit wonders. Yeah, there you go.
Kurt Cobain. I call not it.
Yeah, just not because of the shotgun, but because one of you has to get an STD from Courtney Love.
Oh, not doing that again.
Not doing that again. So funny. All right, guys. Well, I think that about wraps things up for this episode of the D. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Special thanks go out to Ex Machina, and you guys check him out. Dude, tell everybody where they can find you on Twitter and Facebook and however you'd like to be found.
Sure. My Twitter handle is at D1RTYDan, so like at Dirty Dan with the number 1. I do some articles for Whale Reports. I haven't whalereports.com, giving them a shout out. I haven't wrote one in a while. I've been really busy, but written one, I should say. And then also I do have one thing that I am doing. I want to shout it out there. It's called the Decentralized Dash. This is a 10K that happening at the end of October that anyone can participate in. It's not a central location. It's decentralized. It happens over the course of a week. You submit your times and you can actually win Bitcoin or other swag, and it's free to enter if you want to compete with other people. This is a project that I'm doing with a couple people that I met on crypto Twitter, and it's really good. It's people getting healthy, and we're hoping to parlay it into an official app, health app, and maybe tokenize the data.
Yeah, I love that. What date is that?
It's the last week of October is when the race actually occurs. So you technically have a week to submit your time through any. Well, we have one chosen Runkeeper app, and we have some rules that you have to follow. And basically, you run a 10K. And you submit your time, your pace, all of that. And if you beat other people out in your class, then you can actually win cryptocurrency or prizes.
Like tracked? Is it like a GPS, like a track?
Yeah, it's GPS tracked, but that data isn't made public. We use like Runkeeper, which is like, Apple Workout app or any of those, because we need to be able to get your time, but we're not tracking any of that.
So you know if I got onto like a moped or something?
We would know that. Yeah, that's already been discussed. And you kind of have to be part of the community. We have a Telegram group. I don't have it in front of me, but we do have a website. It's d-.io for Decentralized Dash. And the Twitter for that is at 10KRYPTO. So it's like 10K, but 10 crypto with a K.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Man. I've always hated running, but I'm all about staying fit. So yeah, I might have to check that out. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, come check it out.
My hamstring. While he's just sitting.
You guys. He's just sitting and he's hurt himself already. He's done for the season, torn ACL.
Talking about it.
You're gonna try to get these two guys to run in between taking puffs off of their inhalers.
Oh, that's funny.
Alrighty, well, hey, look, that's cool. So check out the 10K crypto thing. We're definitely going to check it out, and it's decentralized, and that's amazing. That's the type of thing that raises awareness, yeah, that's the type of thing that raises awareness. I was going to make a joke about raising awareness for other things. I decided to pull that. So it's a good thing to raise awareness for. It's good because it helps everybody, right? It helps tackle this terrible banking industry that we have globally, and it helps people decentralize and take control of their own money. It's a very beautiful thing. Deus Ex Machina, Dirty Dan, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Decentralized Talk. Everyone out there in crypto land, stay decent.